Right, I'm going to film it because every time I do something like this, I always go, shit, I've got to film it, so I'm going to film it. It could be completely terrible and then I'll just delete it afterwards. But hopefully if it's any good, I'll be able to share it with you guys once I've edited it and I've kind of made sense of it. So you're all here for a confidence sparring workshop. Let's get that right first. Yes, good. You're not here for grading or anything else. I've got written down what I want to go through, which I'm going to go through in a second. And then I've also got rules of sparring as well. I've printed off like 15 copies. Some of you say, yes, please, can I have a copy? Some of you be like, no, I know it all. I don't need that. But I've got some copies printed off if you need it when we finish it off. So today, there's going to be a lot of talking and a lot of fundamentals and a lot of mindset about what we're doing. It's not just going to be 2 hours of sparring, okay? Because the idea is to build your confidence up. I also didn't have a clue who was going to do it. So I didn't know if I was going to have a load of adults, a load of teens, a load of sort of towards the end of the cadets. I didn't know if I was going to have a full group of beginners and no intermediates, or intermediate, advanced, or some of you already spar already. So it's good to have a mixture of people that don't spar in here. Some have sparred a little bit, some that used to spar and are coming back, and some don't have a clue, and then some of you spar every week anyway. So it's nice to have a really, really good mix. So we're going to be talking about the theory and the practical, your mindset and confidence. And if you've got any questions throughout any of this, just go, Carl, what the hell are you talking about? And I'll answer it the best I can. It's going to be roughly an hour of basic moves, mindset, going through what is sparring, the fundamentals and the concept of why you spar. We're going to go through 1-step, 2-step, 3-step sparring. We'll see how we'll get on towards the end. We're going to be working really basic stuff like stance, movement, blocking, defence, because the attack, in all fairness, is easy. We'll go into the defence part in a minute. Then we're going to talk about how to execute it, stuff like touching gloves, eye contact, getting in and out of the ring. If people are hitting you too heavy, what to do about it. When you mix it up, so we've got fully grown adults that are 80 kilos plus, and then we've got children that are 10 years old and definitely, or 7. My point is he ain't 40. And you're definitely not 80 kilos. So obviously, Matt won't punch him as hard as he can because, you might do. I mean, Matt's a good advocate. He got his eye split open a couple of weeks ago in a really light spar, so we can talk about that as well. Hopefully that won't happen today, but he did just laugh about it, which is good. We're going to talk about changing partners, working with different sex, so male and female, cross-training like that. Not cross-dressing. What you want to get out of your sparring is really important as well, because some people just go, I don't want to spar, or I'm sparring and I'm rubbish. That's kind of what I get, is I'm crap, I don't know what I'm doing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. How to work your tempo, what gains you're going to get out of it, your fitness reaction times, and a million other things that I'll start waffling about as we go along. And then the idea behind your actual sparring once you get a step further. So that's kind of what we're going to cover in the next 2 hours. That's quite a lot. So at any point, stop me, because I will keep going. So if you get a question, just go, what's that? And I'll either go like that, and I'll come back to you, or I'll just ask you straight away. So first of all, put your hands up if you've never sparred. So let's go with that one first. So have a look around the room. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish that have never sparred. Put your hands down. Put your hands up if you've sparred a little bit, but don't spar much. So you've had a couple of goes, or you've had a couple of months at it. So again, about half of you, put your hands down. And hands up if you spar every week.
We'll get back into it.
So one and a bit. Yes, sir. Yeah, so we've got 2 people that spar actively in here. So they're the ones who are going to kick you out. So stay away from them. So the idea is to build it up. We're going to talk about your level of power. Because again, for example, I could hit someone really lightly and they could go, oh, that's really hard. And I could be like, well, that's not very hard. But it could be hard for them. So we're going to talk about what is hard for someone else. Put your hands up if you're worried about sparring, and be honest. Like if you're generally, like that. Do you know what I mean? So about half of you in the room, and if you're not, excellent. You're just here to fight, right? I know it sounds silly, but what's the idea of sparring? What do we think the idea of sparring is? Anyone?
For me, learning how to get a punch and also how to hang.
Yeah, you're learning how to get it, effectively. You've got sparring and fighting, by the way. So when you're fighting, you are trying to kill each other. The idea is when you're sparring, you're not trying to kill each other, you're trying to learn. Now for me, and I would say it's also the most important thing is stance and guard. When you get in the ring and touch gloves, so you learn kickboxing, you learn how to front kick, jab, cross, you learn how to punch and kick. You then learn how to block a punch and kick. You then learn how to punch and kick someone and how to get punched and kicked. Once you've kind of learned them 4 bits, you then start sparring. Once you start sparring, you get good at it, you go, actually, I really enjoy this. Do you know what? I'm now going to start fighting. So you take it to the next step. But the difference is, once you start fighting, you touch gloves, and even in light contact, it's not light. And they're not going to punch you on the nose and go, I'm really sorry. They're going to be trying to punch and kick you as hard as they can. So when you get in there, you're not mates anymore, and you will start to fight as opposed to spar. So when you have a fight, the way I see it, if one of you's standing and one of you's lying down, it's obvious who's won. Yeah? It's a KO, technical knockout, whichever one you get. Now, if you're both standing at the end of the fight, it's then up to the ref and the judges to decide who was the better fighter. Now, this is where everyone's like, oh, there's no way. So, for example, if you two are fighting and you've got 100 crowd watching you, if he hits you once in the face and you hit him 50 times, all his mates are only going to remember his one punch to your face. They're not going to remember the 100 times you hit him. They're only going to remember your one punch. And then when you finish, they're not going to come out and go, you were rubbish, you got battered, why'd you fight? They're going to be saying to you, that was amazing, you hit him right in the face. So when you have a fight, it's completely different to when you're sparring. So for me, when you're fighting, you want to knock them out, you want them lying on the floor, you don't want them getting back up until the medics get there. Otherwise, the judges will... So that's kind of how we work. But more importantly than that, because some of you are now going, whoa, what have I just walked into? More importantly than that, if you can fight and never, ever, ever, ever get knocked out, then you won't ever lose a fight by KO. Now, the way of doing that, and that sounds really simple, keep your guard up. You watch any knockout in any fight, in any UFC, boxing, kickboxing, taekwondo, any fighter that gets knocked out, they'll get punched or kicked around the face, and their hands will not be there. If their hands are there, they won't get knocked out. If their hands are there, they get hit, they get knocked out. Punch chin, temple, get knocked out. You get body shot, rib shot, then you'll stop breathing and then you don't fight. So my job is to get you lot to defend yourself as best as possible. Now, if you're in the team's class the other day, you'll know that I was talking about defence, defence, defence. And you think of like the Terminator in the film, he gets his leg cut off and he stands up and starts hopping along. And whatever you do to him, you can't kill him. That's kind of how I eventually would like my fighters to be. So not you lot now today, but if you can defend yourself so much that the other fighter can't hurt you, you will never, ever, ever get knocked out and you'll never, ever, ever lose. So in 25 years of fighting with a fight team with over 500-600 fights, up until a few years ago, we'd never had anyone knocked out ever, which is pretty much unheard of. And now we've only had 2 knockouts against us out of 500-600 fights. And the reason they don't get knocked out is when they get under pressure, when they get tired, when they get stressed, they will revert back to getting in guard, getting in a stance. If they are getting hit, they can defend themselves. I'd much rather you get out the ring safe. I don't mind if you lose. If you've tried your hardest and you lose, that's cool. What I don't want you doing is getting knocked out and then getting a month's suspension and then, saying to me you got a headache for the next 2 weeks because someone's punched you quite hard in the face. Does that make sense? Yeah, so today it's going to be all about defence. It's all going to be about protecting yourself, and it's going to be about working your range and stance and movement. Now, that doesn't mean your partner's going to try and kill you, so don't get worried about that either, right? The idea is to learn from each other. Right, does that all make sense? Any questions on that? So defence, today you're going to go away going, actually, I really know how to defend myself a lot. And you will be amazed at how much your body can take, how much pressure you can put into your body, and how well you can defend yourself. The other thing I want to touch on is, when you leave here today, I don't expect you all to start sparring tomorrow. Like, just because you've done this, I don't expect you to go, well, I've done a 2-hour seminar or workshop, now I'm ready to go and fight Callum and see how I get on. That's not what it's about. The idea is to build your confidence up, to work a little bit harder in classes, maybe take a step forward for sparring, maybe take your next grading when it comes along, maybe when you're doing pads, you can push the pads harder, and we will start adding a bit of contact in the classes as we move along. So that's the idea today. Is that cool? Everyone all right with that? Right, what I want you to do is grab a partner, try and get someone roughly your same size and age if you can, and then when I say go, you're going to do 1 minute, before we do anything, of 1 step, 1 touch sparring. And it looks like this. Whee! Sorry, mate. So getting punched in the face. So when you're defending yourself, obviously your hands are on your face, and that will protect 75% of your face. Now, if they're really good, they'll make you block to the side, and then there's a big gap in the middle, and they can punch through the centre. So there is an element of movement. But what you've said is perfect. Even getting hit. Now, if your hands are not on your face, the gaps are bigger. So it's easier for them to hit you if your hands are away from your face. So a lot of people go like that. But all you've done is make massive holes for them to go around and punch you. So the closer your hands get to your face, the less space there is for them to hit you. One. The other thing is, your hands are on your head. So getting knocked out is embarrassing. Knocking yourself out is even more embarrassing. So if you're like that and then they hit your hand and you hit the other, that's even worse. So your hands come up to your head, your elbows come in, your chin come down. Now, when you're getting hit, for your whole life, people have told you you're not allowed to fight, you're not allowed to get punched, you're not allowed to kick. You don't really go to school or college or work and get punched in the face. Now you come here and pay me and then you get punched in the face. It sounds a bit strange and a bit weird. So it is something you've got to get used to. It is something you have to condition, not only your skin and your nerve endings, physically, but mentally. Your brain, if you wasn't dragged up in the streets, your brain is going to go, oh, someone's trying to hit me. Even if you're going, yeah, I'm a kickboxer, yeah, I've done this, someone's punching and kicking in your face, your brain is going to be going like that until we've beaten it out of you. As sick as that sounds, that's exactly how we get it out of you. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to put you on the floor and hit you with a bat, but it does mean you've got to get punched 5,000 times before your brain starts going like that. But what does happen over time, because if you don't spar, you never get conditioned. Once you do get conditioned, what starts to happen is, your first week, you're like, oh, this is weird. Oh, get away. And then a week, a month, 6 months, it's slowly over 1% at a time. And then you'll get to a point where you actually go, well, actually, I can get punched in the face and it doesn't hurt. And actually, I'm quite strong and I'm quite brave and I do kind of like it. And then you start to understand how strong your body really is. How many times does someone go to hit you and you go, ow! And they've not even hit you. They're miles away from you, but your brain has gone, it's going to hurt. It's exactly the same when you're sparring if you're not used to it. If someone's trying to hit you, your brain will try and move you away. So again, if you've been in some of our advanced classes, you'll see some people, they'll spar, and when they get hit, they go like that. That's the worst thing you can do, because now you can't even see the attack coming, you can't even block for it. So as hard as it is to stay and face the person that's punching and kicking you, that is the safest thing to do. A bit like looking at a shark. If you run away, they'll bite you, apparently. I've never wrestled a shark, but that's apparently what happens. You're meant to face them and apparently they'll swim away. Don't try that. What? But yeah. Right, anything else you're scared of? So getting punched, getting hurt. Protect. As silly as it sounds, stance, guard, that will protect you, and move. And movement. So the other thing is, fight or flight. A lot of people freeze. So they'll spar, they'll get hit, then they'll go, oh, I don't know what to do. So they just completely stand still. If you stand still, they will keep going. So that, around there. Let's say he puts a leg kick in, and it shocks me. What will probably happen is you'll go like this, you'll get kicked and go, oh, that hurt. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Move. Move. So whenever you're hurt, the safest thing to do is move. There's more to it, and when you start fighting, I suppose sparring, it goes even deeper than that. But for now, for today, if you get hit, move. If you get hurt, move. The other good thing is, if you get hit, let's say Zach gives me a dead leg, if I stand still, he's going to be able to keep going at that leg again, like chopping the tree down. Whereas, if he kicks me and it hurts, but if I move away, he's now got to work harder, he's now got to move, he's got to come chase me. So, if nothing else, it gives you time. Does that make sense? So, give yourself time. If you go away from something, you've got time, you go towards it, you get less time. So, that's another good thing. Anything else that could be in your head, and there is no stupid questions or thoughts. Right. So, the way to stop yourself from getting hurt is conditioning. So when we started doing K1 18 months ago, when we first started doing leg kicks, everyone was like, and it doesn't take long to condition. But it does mean you've got to start building your resilience to getting kicked, getting punched. So we're going to start to build that over the next hour as well. If you saw Sade's leg last week, you'll see how brutal you can get. But what I want you to do is we're going to start off doing a few basic techniques, and then we're going to build it up, and then we're going to go from really light hand work, and then we're going to move it into a bit of conditioning work, just so you know what's coming. Okay, breathing. When you're hitting someone, you all know that we go shh, 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 like that. But when you're getting hit, you've got to do it as well. So when you're getting hit, don't hold your breath. So if Zach hits me, don't go like this. And hold your breath and panic. Every time a kick goes in, breathe. Every time a jab comes in. Every time a body shot comes in. If I hit him back. Otherwise, you hold your breath. And then what happens when you're fighting is after about 30 seconds, you go, I forgot to breathe. And then people go, why am I so tired? We haven't breathed for 30 seconds. Because you get in there, you panic, you hold your breath, you stand still. And then you literally go. So when you're moving and sparring, people generally forget to breathe for about 10 seconds. So while you're moving, breathe. If you're getting hit, breathe. If you're hitting someone, breathe. If you're getting smashed to pieces, still breathe. Okay? So now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to put my guard up onto my eyebrows, pretty much. I'm going to look through the gap, and Zach's going to throw a jab across to my head. Then a jab across to my body. Then a leg kick. So you go 2 up, 2 down, leg kick. So 2 up, 2 down, leg kick. But instead of padding it now, you're going to take it to the head, or to the gloves at least, and at 1%. So, and again, what Zach's doing perfectly is, he's not going, well, Cole's practicing his block, so I'm going to go, yeah, he's still technique, it's still good, it's still neat and tidy. So, jab cross, leg kick. And I'm going block, tense, leg kick, check. Away you go. Hands on your head, Joe. Touch your head. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to move. Nice, better. Everyone all right? No one's crying yet? No one's bleeding? No one wants to go home? Good. So I've got a printout of the rules of sparring, because in my head it's easy, but it is easy because I've been doing it for 30 years. So protective equipment, trousers or shorts, head guard, gum shield, minimum of 14-ounce gloves when you're sparring. It is a rule we put in about 5-6 years ago, and then most people have kind of just moved on with their 10-ounce gloves. The good thing with 14s is they're bigger, they're thicker, they're more protective, they give your hands more protection, they give your opponent's face more protection. And the other thing is, if you train in 14-ounce gloves, when you start fighting, you put on a 10-ounce glove, and they're lighter and faster, and then you feel like you're $1 million because your hands are really, really light. So it is much better to be in 14-ounce gloves. Groin guard for men. Women, you can wear one, but you don't have to. I don't know a single woman that does, but if you want to, you can. If you're doing K1 or low kick, it's shin and insteps. If you compete, it will be the thinner ones. If you're training, it can be thinner ones. But if you're training hard, it'll be these. So if you're really kicking bells out of each other, these are training pads. When you compete, you drop down to the thinner ones, which is a bit more painful. As a rule, I like everyone wearing head guards, because the first thing the insurance company will say, if you get punched in the face and get concussion, the first thing they will say is, did you have a gum shield in? Did you have a head guard on? Was you wearing your seatbelt? That kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So they'll say, if you didn't have a head guard on, it's your own fault. The other thing is, if someone side kicked you really hard and you fly into the wall, you might turn aside a perfect guard, but the walls are still quite hard, they're brick, and the wall will win. If you've got a head guard on, it will bounce. If you don't have a head guard on, it will hurt. And there are also, very occasionally, someone will throw a kick, someone will completely move out of the way, and someone else will kick you in the back of the head, because we've got a lot of people sparring. It happens like once a year, but it does happen. So head guards are good to protect your head. Also, I want you to keep your brains, which is good. As a rule, we say red to yellow belt and above sparring, but we get lots of people that have been with us 3-4 years and they never want to grade, but they like to fight. So although we say that, anyone can spar or fight. License, £25 a year to get you competing, but you will pay that when you join anyway, so don't worry about that. Right, scoring areas. Front of face, side of face, under chin, torso, side of torso, arms, the top of the hip, the chest, the thighs, the calves. They are the scoring areas, not the throat. Legal areas, back of head, I've written throat, neck, back, groin. Now there will be occasional times where you throw jab cross roundhouse kick and you'll jab cross them and they'll turn, and as you'll throw the roundhouse kick, you'll kick them in the back. Can't be helped. If it's an accident, it's an accident. And then occasionally you'll someone go, you're not there, kick me in your back. Well, if you didn't cheat yourself and turn around, it wouldn't have happened. Right? But, oh, sorry, I've got a couple of kids there. But my point is, don't turn your back. If someone turns their back and you go, ha, kick him in the back, that's naughty. Don't do that. And the ref, if you're fighting, will pick you up on that. So don't do that. Legal techniques. Open hand strikes. You'll all have boxing gloves on, so that shouldn't happen. Elbows. We're not allowed to elbow. We're not allowed to headbutt. We're not allowed to throw people. So you can't pick them up and throw them. It does happen, but you're not allowed to do it. Swearing. I'm worse for that. Inappropriate attire, gestures of words, verbal attacks. We've only had to throw one person out the club for doing it in 25 years. So it does happen, but I don't think that's bad. But if the ref says you're being naughty, just agree with him. Let me sort it out for you. If you're sparring someone and it's a bit wrong, just come and see me or Jenny or Callum, one of the other coaches, Zach, and don't just kick off, because that doesn't help anyone. So watch your language and watch your behaviour around people. What else? Don't cheat, so don't headbutt someone. Scratching, biting, spitting, we don't like that here either. Punching and kicking after the ref says stop. The ref doesn't like it, the judges don't like it, their crowd don't like it. So if the ref goes break, and then I kick Zach in the face, and he's got 100 people supporting him, you've now just put 100 people against you like that. And I have been to places where that can come unstuck very quickly. Don't leave the fighting area. Again, occasionally, once in a blue moon, you'll get someone fight, get the right ump and just walk out. Don't do that, that's very disrespectful. Come and talk to me, or whoever you need to talk to. Refusing to touch gloves. So when you change partners, when I say time, change partners, swap over, go and get a drink. That's us. That's your way of going, yeah, nice one, let's go. Like shaking hands, like meeting someone. That's your, right, are you ready to go? Because sometimes I can go, right, fight! And two people are still talking and the other person wants to start fighting. They think they're ready, they're not ready. So they're like, yeah, okay, cool, turn around. They get to get roundhouse kick straight to the face. Because they haven't acknowledged that they're ready to go in line, where they think they're in line. So every time you change partners, touch gloves. Every time you start and stop, touch gloves. Every single time. And technically, you shouldn't punch or kick them, or get punched or kicked, until you've touched gloves. Now, there is a bit of a grey area, which you see sometimes. Stand up. You get some people do this. Touch gloves. And they try and get you with a cheeky shot. By law, they're allowed to do it. You've touched gloves, that means fight. 99.9% of the time, and I would prefer you, as your instructor, to touch gloves, step back, then it's fair game. Because that's just trying to get a cheeky shot. Do you know what I mean? That's cheating. So don't do that. Don't ever do that. And if I ever see you do that, and it happens probably once every 3 months, I will pull you up on it straight away. So touch gloves, be respectful, step back, then start sparring. Thank you very much. So, if you're fighting, definitely touch gloves and step back. Only go straight for them if they've bit you, headbutt you, swore at you, then you're allowed to do stuff like that. Always make sure you got the right kit on, or use safety equipment. So don't turn up with like a pair of 2-ounce gloves, or no groin guards, etc., etc. Wear club t-shirts. So for example, don't turn up in a white Adidas t-shirt at a tournament. This is more for fighters. Girls, tie your hair back. Always take your socks off. Take your piercings and jewellery out. Fighters must be respectful at all times. Head coach's word is final. Thank you. So that's just says that. That's more for my fight team, but that gives you all the rules and all the little bits and pieces that you need to know for sparring and competing. Any questions so far? Amazing. Right, we'll move on. Right. When you change partners, be really particular with your height and weight and who you're sparring. So rather than just touch gloves and go, when you change partners, touch gloves and just assess who you're with. Have they got a belt on? If they've got a belt, what colour it is? What colour is it? If they haven't got a belt, you can maybe ask them, what's your name? How long have you been here? Because you might go with someone, they might not have a belt on, you might assume that they're a beginner, and you go, oh, I've never seen you I've been here 10 years. So Kira, as an example, she's just come back. But how long have you been training? About 4 years. It might be longer than that, I think. Yeah, but most people in here won't recognise you because you've not been here for a while. And they'll go, who's that? But they'll go, she's pretty strong and pretty fast. So just be when you change partners, just be mindful who you go with. Right, anyone hurt yet? Perfect, so you've beaten each other up for now, no one's hurt, which is good. Right, so you've now got all of your other techniques. So to start with, we're going to keep changing partners. We're going to start building your technique base up now. So we're going to start off with, alternately, we're going to go back 1 for 1, back with your original partner. And we're going to go front kick, front kick. So front kick, front kick, front kick, front kick, front kick, front kick, like that. Really simple. Move about a little bit in between. Go! Okay, time! Just for 1 second. I've had a few people ask, so I'll say it to the class. Your chest plate is to protect your heart. It's quite important to your body. Your ribs are to protect your lungs. Your lungs help you breathe. So when you are punching the body, effectively what you're trying to do is punch the stomach or the rib cage, and you're trying to punch it into the lungs. Because the way you get winded is you get hit, your lungs collapse, all the air gets squeezed out, and then that's why you're winded. And if you get hit really hard, your lungs collapse, and then they almost stick together because you've really collapsed them, which is why when you get to see people really winded, they get hit, they drop, and then they go that as they reopen back up. So the harder you get hit, the worse that's going to happen. Now, if you get knocked out or you get hit in the chin and you're a bit dizzy, you're a bit struck, you'll still want to fight because you'll be like that. But you can still fight. If you get winded badly, you are going to do nothing apart from fall to the floor, curl up into fetal position and ask for your mum. Because when you're born, the first thing you do is breathe. You're not taught how to breathe. You come out into the world and you're breathing somehow. So if someone takes away your breath, you can't think how to fight. You can't try and get them back. You can't try and stumble around the ring. You will fall to the floor, curl up into a ball, and hope that you sometime come back to breathing at some point. So I personally like body shots myself because they don't get back up. If you hit them and make them dizzy, they can still run around the ring like that. Which is why it's so important to get your elbows in and condition your body as best you can, if they're good at body shots. So, just do me a favour for 1 second. Put your hands on your temples, and you'll notice how high your elbows are. And then what you do is tuck your chin down. You alright? Yeah. And then in like that, but keep your hands on your chin. So make sure they stay there. They don't drop any lower. And elbows in. And then what you can do is twist your body. So now we're going to go jab cross to the head. So you can go up high. You've got to keep looking because they're going to come for your ribs. Drop them in, protect the ribs. And again, you can start moving your hips a little bit. So you can lift your hip up, turn it in. You can turn your body like that. So 2 to the head, 2 to the body. Move about. 2 to the head, 2 to the body. Go! Another really simple thing, when you're changing partners, don't walk around the room like a gormless idiot. Go like that. Yeah, if you ain't got a partner, oh look, someone else with their hand up. Let's go and join them. As silly as it sounds, it's that simple. Just put your hand up and find someone new. Right, we're now, instead of doing 1 minute attack, 1 minute defend, we're now going to attack, like that. We're still having move, stop, attack. So I'm going to move about in my stance. I'm going to stop. The person who's going to attack me, they can throw 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 punches. I don't mind how many, or kicks. Normally 5, 6, 7 is about right. And then they'll move, and then you'll move, and then they'll stop, and then you attack. So it's like you attack, you attack, you attack, like that. Keep it light, keep it chilled, keep your eyes open, look forward, keep your guards up, and don't kill each other. Right, okay, so now you got gum shields in. That doesn't mean go harder. I know. It's a bit like when I put a crash helmet on when I get in a car, it just means I'm allowed to go faster because I think I'm indestructible. That's what a gum shield does for me. Put a gum shield in. Oh, no one can knock me out now. I've got a gum shield in. It just means you can protect your teeth, protect your lips and your tongue. You can control tempos when you're sparring a little bit. Obviously, it depends on who you're with. But now we're changing partners. Instead of like 1 attack, 1 defend, now you're going attack, attack, attack. So this is where mistakes start happening. This is where accidents start to happen. You're starting to get a bit tired. We've been going an hour and a half. I'm not saying any of you are messing it up. But if you were in a class and we were going a little bit harder, this is when your guards start to drop. This is when you start to turn a little bit. This is when your kicks get a little bit lazy because you're tired. It's not that you're lazy. It's just when you've been training for an hour and a half, you're going to get tired. So your legs are going to get tired. Your muscles are going to get fatigued. So you start making mistakes. So instead of a thigh kick, you might kick them in the knee. And then your partner's going to go, stop kicking me in the knee. So that's where you've just got to get a little bit better with technique. And you've got to get a little bit better at not snapping at each other as much. So you just got to be mindful that, you might accidentally kick someone square in the face, but that's not your fault. It's their fault for not having guard up. You can't then shout at them for going, you kicked me in the face. Where was your guard? Do you know what I mean? That's the point. So, the gains that you should be finding so far is you're probably finding you're knackered because sparring's hard work. It's the hardest thing to do. It's harder than a warm-up. It's harder than bags. It's harder than focus pads. Shut up for a minute, please. Sparring is another level of fitness. So arguably, it's really good for fitness. However, it's also really tough. If I say do 10 rounds of sparring, that's hard work. Certainly if you have hard rounds of sparring. It improves your reaction time, your confidence. It will improve your weaknesses. And it will also improve your self-belief.
I have a question about etiquette.
Yep.
What's the etiquette on private tea?
I don't like it. I will say to Kirsty, don't do them. Because she's got a very good teep as well. So teep, if you don't know what a teep is a front kick to the face. Now, it's a wicked kick if they're not your main. So I mean, you don't have to be kicked hard. You don't have to be teeped hard for it to hurt. Yeah, your nose don't bend very well, your teeth and lips don't bend very well, and your head doesn't snap back very well. So if you get roundhouse kicks to the side of the head, you'll spin, and you'll be all right. You get front kicks, you go backwards. Fine. You get leg kick, you buckle. But you get a front kick to the face, it doesn't buckle very well, and it doesn't bend very well, it just hurts. So, are you allowed to do them? Yes. But I would say the actual etiquette while we're sparring, don't do them. So if someone does it to me, certainly if they mean it, then they're going to stop breathing within the next 30 seconds. You know what I mean? You want to give me a teep, I'm going to give you one of my world famous left body shots. And then you're going to be wishing you didn't teep me. But that's me personally. So don't do them. And if you do them, you're not a very nice person. Now don't get me wrong, if we're fight sparring with Callum, and we might be running certain drills, we might be saying that teeps are allowed, or we might even be drilling, and I might even say to him, right, teep, but block it. So you give him a bit of warning. But if you're just sparring and you throw a teep to someone's nose, it ain't going to take a lot to break their nose. So don't do it. Unless you've asked them first. Does that make sense? So you're going to get challenged. You're going to change partners. You're going to get people that will push you a little bit. You'll get easy rounds. If you're dying or if you're starting to struggle, go with someone where you know, A, you're going to get an easy round, but B, you can help them. Do you know what I mean? You spar with me, it's going to be, well, so it'd be a hard round. I'd like to think it'd be a hard round, but I'll teach you. But go with one of the juniors, you're going to get an easier round because they're half your weight. Yeah? And then you can help them grow. So let's do a couple more rounds. Touch gloves. 1 for 1. Let's go. Keep it tidy, Rudy. Keep it tidy. Okay, time. Right, stay where you are. Stay where you are. Don't move. Right, so the next thing, right, now you're getting better at this, is you've got to start now looking out for each other. So if you two face each other there, right, if you two face each other, but then move 3 metres that way, you're getting close to someone else, they can't see backwards, so you've got to look forwards for them to look backwards. So if you start getting close to someone, just go, whoa, like that. So if someone does that to you, that means stop, move out the way. Means you're getting close to someone else. So the better you get, the more you're going to move. The more you move, the faster you're going to move. Like driving, you get quicker and, well, you should get quicker and quicker. Safer, hopefully. But you're going to move quicker because you don't get hit. But that means there's more energy in the room, which means you're going to start bumping into each other, which means you've got to start looking out for each other more as you start to move. Okay? So, let's do another 3 rounds, but start looking out for each other so you don't keep bumping into each other. Way go! Okay, just so while you're stretching, what to expect from sparring. So when you spar, you might have an expectation of what you might want to get out of it, or how good or bad it's going to be. Now, you will have good days and bad days. There will be days when you spar and you will feel like you're the worst person in the room. And you're not the worst person in the room, but in your head, you're just having a really bad day. You're having a meltdown. You've had a bad day at work. You've had a bad day at school. You're on your period. It doesn't matter what, you're just having a bad day. Even men. It'll be 2 months, not 1 month. So, set an expectation, but also don't have a complete meltdown, or try not to have a complete meltdown if it's not going your way that day. Because you'll get days when you're having a bad day and you'll have someone that's on a really good day, and then vice versa, the other way around. So sometimes you just have a bad day. I do. Sometimes I'm sparring and I'm like, oh my God, sucks. When you first start sparring, bear in mind you might not win a single round. I guarantee you, no offence, but if any one of you spar Callum and Callum's having a good day, you won't win that round. End of story.
He toys with you.
He toys with you. It's like a lion playing with a mouse. But if you expect that, it's not as bad. Tell me he's going to beat me up. And he's not going to beat you up. Oh, yeah. He's got an answer for everything. They broke my toe the other week. Straight back. But have a goal. So, for example, let's use Callum as an example. If you spar him, obviously you're not going to win the round. You're probably going to lose that round. It might not feel like your best round. But know that he hit you 100 times. And next time you spar him, you only want him to hit you 90 times, 80 times, 70 times, 60 times. And then once you've sparred him for 6 months, you'll look back and go, oh, all right, I'm not winning, but I'm not getting battered or beaten up, or I'm only getting hit 20 times now instead of 100 times. Or when I finish the round, I don't feel like crying and going home. Now, I know that sounds bad, but that's a good step forward. Again, Callum's fighting at a very high level. So just understand that your goal to start with might not be to win. It might be to not leave the room crying. But that's a good goal, depending on what level you're at. And again, children, teenagers or adults, I have had many adults in here recently have to go outside and have a little cry, a little talk to themselves, and then come back in and carry on. It's just, you're having a bad day, that's all it is. Little wobble in your head, and that's it. Work towards your goal, so work towards your movement, your guard, your stance, getting punched in the face. And you're not going to win every single round. And don't ever think that. Even Callum won't win every round. Like if Callum has 10 hard rounds with Jake, and then I jump in the ring fresh, there's a good chance I might beat him once. That's why I do it at the end. Makes me feel good. Whatever fear you've got, try and overcome your fear. So, for example, some of you had a fear of coming in here today and doing it. So if you've done that, well done, congratulations. If you're scared of sparring some of the coaches, go and spar them. They're going to look after you. They're not going to beat you up. Even if you say, oh, Zach, I want to spar, but I'm really nervous because you're amazing and you're going to beat me up. If you go and say that to him, he'll probably go, that's cool, I'll work with you. Rather than you being really tense, really nervous, overpowering your shots because you're scared, and then him going, well, who the fuck are you? You're going to get it back. Let's say to him, look, I'm really nervous. I want to have a couple of nice, easy rounds. And they'll go light on you. They all will. They know what they're doing. They should do. Otherwise, we'll put them in the ring with Cal. And then it takes time to get good. Like if you've never been on a mountain bike, you're not going to get on a mountain bike and then go down the skate park and start trying to go down the ramps. And if you do, you're going to get hurt. So when you start sparring properly, it takes time to get good. And there's so many times people come to me every single week. Oh, my footwork's not working, or my guard's rubbish, or every time I get hit, I move. Well, when did you last spar? Oh, 6 months ago. Well, what do you expect? Like, I've trained 6 days a week for 30 years, and then if I have 2 weeks off, my first sparring back after 2 weeks off, and I'm like that. Because it goes. So if you've never sparred, or you've sparred once in 6 months, of course your first sparring is going to feel horrible. It's not going to feel good, because you've not done it. So don't feel bad if it does feel rubbish. Does that make sense? So you've now been sparring, I mean you've been conditioning for like an hour, and you've now been sparring for about 40 minutes. Now it has been 1 for 1, it has been tit for tat, it has been like you go and then I go and then you go and then I go, but that is sparring. So if you've never sparred, congratulations, you've just sparred. Sparring is you punch someone, they punch you back. End of story. That's it. That is sparring. Now, no one's got head guards on, so we're keeping it nice and light and relaxed. In theory, with a head guard on, you go a little bit harder, but you also feel a bit more protected. And most of you, you've all got your shins and gum shields, bar 2 of you, I think. So we're going to do another couple of rounds, but now all I want you to do in the last couple of rounds before we finish is just to feel comfortable. Rather than tense or, like just relax, enjoy it, have fun with it, move. Some people you'll be able to up the power a little bit, some people will be able to drop it off a little bit. And just as we do it, just be mindful, okay? So we're going to do 5 rounds now, not 3, and me talk for 5 minutes to let you recover. So put your gloves on. Ideally try and go with someone that you've not been with. So change partners. Ten seconds. Okay, so while them last couple of rounds were happening, what's happening is people are getting a little bit harder, a little bit faster, a bit more movement, starting to push each other, starting to talk to each other as well, and go, yeah, oh, that was good, yeah, a little bit harder, which is really, really, really good, which is what we want. And I heard 3 people say it, and I hadn't even thought about this. Have you enjoyed today so far? Has it been helpful? Now, I heard 3 people say it, which made me think, in 2 months' time, 3 months' time, would you like to do a level 2 where we go a little bit heavier and a bit deeper? I hadn't thought about that, and then I had 3 people kind of say it while they're sparring. I thought, actually, we could probably push this on a little bit more now. So you've had 2 hours of 5%, 10%. You've had 2 hours of walking through it and building and 1 for 1 and kind of sharing the experience a little bit. But again, watching you lot there, 99% of you were nice and comfortable doing it. I hadn't thought about doing another level to it. The idea was a lot of people going, oh, I want to spar, but I'm nervous. Or when I spar, I can't spar, but I ain't got a clue what I'm doing, and I feel like a bag of balls. So I was like, right, we'll do a seminar. I'd done one of these like 6-7 years ago. So I thought, let's do another one and improve it a little bit. I think this one's definitely been better. Right, let's have a couple of little key takeaways just for 2 minutes. What have you learnt today? Tell me what you've improved on. Or say again?
Keep your guard up.
Keep your guard up. That is probably the biggest thing, because then you won't get knocked out. So guard. Holding your breath, yeah? Holding your breath. If you can't breathe, you can't fight. If you're holding your breath, you've just made it even easier for them. It won't take long. Hold your breath and go for a run. See how far you get. You won't go very far. Holding your breath. Guard up. What else?
Watching what the other person's doing because you look for weakness.
Yeah. So watching, learning, and then adapting. You say? Adapting. That doesn't spell adapting, but I know what it means. Defense. Yes, we've got guard and defense. You could say they're 2 different things as you like if you go a little bit deep into it. I was about to say yes, but you're just stretching your leg.
A lot more movement.
Movement, yeah. So movement. So movement is one of the most important things to practice. People just stand still and freeze and get punched and kicked. What else?
Talking to your partner to see if it's too hard.
Yeah, communication. So I'll put a few mini 2 T's in, but again, I know what I mean. But communication is is vital. Whether it be sparring, whether it be padding, whether it be in the car park, we can say about parents the other day, communicate, makes it much easier. Trying to park in Tesco's when someone's getting in your way, when you're at school, when you're at work, communication is absolutely key, but people tend to forget about that when they're punching and kicking each other. So just talk. That was a bit hard, lighten up a little bit. And then don't be the person going, pussy, that one hard. That doesn't help with the communication, does it? Oh, sorry, didn't mean to kick you. Anything else? Have fun. It's meant to be fun. Now, don't get me wrong, some people will go, you get kicked in the face and you call that fun. I love it. But it takes a certain person. But once you start understanding how strong your body is, how strong your mind is, once you get hit and you don't go like that, once you start getting it, you'll be amazed at how hard you can get hit and take it, and then you start to learn to enjoy it. Believe it or not. So watch me and Callum or Zach or some of the others have a ding-dong. We'll have a ding-dong and we're laughing our heads off. And we are smashing each other. Again, if you saw Sade's leg a couple of weeks ago, I did actually get a bit of heat for it. They're like, that's abuse and you need to go to hospital and you shouldn't have kicked her that hard. We weren't kicking that, we were kicking hard. But it wasn't abuse, we were having a laugh, weren't we? At no point did you go, wasn't we? Cool. Right, any other questions before we finish? Excellent. Right, stand up. Give your arms and legs a shake. Don't be surprised if you hurt a little bit tomorrow, or your nose feels a bit funny, or your forehead starts like feeling like it's moving, because all the nerve endings will be woken up. So sometimes you do get a little bit of that. Shake your arms, shake your legs, bow. Right, give yourself a massive round of applause. Well done.